Hey, good morning. How are you?
Great.
How are you?
Great, good morning.
Good morning.
I like your shirt. Is that from your brand?
It is. It's from Cybherally. One of the first products I made when I started my business. So I had to wear it, I had to rock it.
Awesome.
I'm proud of my shirt. It says I am cyber.
That's tight. Are they available for purchase on your website?
They are. So I created a little boutique online called Cyber Chic. And I created all kind of shirts for cyber analysts, engineers, right, cloud security folks. So this is one of the products, even though it's about to be spring. So I don't know about sweaters, but I have T-shirts and tank tops too. So
That's
if you're
tight.
interested.
Do you design them yourself?
I did. That's what I initially started doing, trying to create like a product for people to just embrace being in cybersecurity, right? Because it's not as common for women to be in this space, but that's a different topic in tech altogether. So I just created something to kind of give people a identity and somewhere to connect. So
I like it. That's cool. How come you didn't bring me a hoodie?
I don't have hoodies.
Oh.
I made it. So there is a limited selection of options. Hoodie wasn't on there. So.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
Okay. So real quick, before we get too deep, I have to give a plug to Coco, the barber.
Yes.
Okay. Because Tiffany was like, every time I like find a guest, she's like, how do you know this person? And so for you, I was like, oh, through Coco. And just an FYI, I'm super introverted. So anytime I actually like talk to people or get a guest, I probably need to call my psychiatrist because my meds need to be adjusted. But it also helps me to be a little bit more extroverted. So shout out again, Coco the barber. She is the plug.
She is.
Anthony, make sure you throw her social media in there.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. So do you know what's about to happen?
Yes.
Yeah?
Are you ready?
I'm gonna fail. So I'm horrible at trivia, so I may do all right. I'll try.
Okay.
I always give it my best.
Yeah, no, during our sync, you said you were like a professional trivia player.
That ain't me. It's not my ministry, but I always give it a good shot. I'm gonna always try.
Okay, all right.
You gotta know your weaknesses, right? Like that's one of mine.
Okay, well, before we get started, we have to give a shout out to one of our guests, Josie, who told us that we can't sing. So that
That was news.
so that we should go ahead and get a singer to help aid our future guests in this game. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with "That's My Jam," 90s R&B edition. Shout out my dude Jimmy Fallon every single episode. What's up? Litigation, we waiting for it. All right, so song number 1. Anthony, you got this?
She's gonna have to put on her headphones for that.
Oh, I guess just listen. Just put it on one ear. There you go.
Okay, let's see.
Time asks no questions, it goes on without you, leaving you behind.
I'm telling you now, I don't know.
You can't stand my pain.
She sounds really good though.
Yeah.
No guesses.
Listen,
None.
she can sing. I ain't got it.
You want us to play it back?
No, there's no beat though.
Okay.
Yeah, so like harmonies get me, but the words, I won't unless it's like Genuine Pony or something that's really.
Yeah. No, that's fair. She did have some deep cuts for real. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention we're changing the rules a little bit. We'll give you like 3 guesses, but you're not gonna guess. So,
Yeah.
Tiffany, song number 1.
Song number 1, You Gotta Be, Desiree.
Who is that? Wait. Okay, so is this an age? Because like I'm a 80s baby, so is she like a young? I mean, what's the cutoff for these artists?
So the artists have to be between 1990 and 1999.
Okay, all right. Now this might be a disadvantage for us older millennials. I'm like the end millennial spectrum, but let's go again. I'll try.
Okay, one more time.
Time asks no questions, it goes on without you, leaving you behind if you can't stand
We can
my
go to the
pain.
next song. Even in telling me, I'm like, I don't have an association in my brain. So next, we can go to the next one.
Okay, go ahead. Song number 2.
Baby, try to understand, I'll be crazy if you leave, 'cause you compliment my style.
I feel like I might know it. Like there's some resonation, but I don't know what it is. She sounds so good. I don't know, but I feel like I would know it if I heard a beat.
That was us yesterday. We're like,
Yeah, it's there. Yeah.
No? Okay.
Who did the buzzer? When was there a buzzer? Okay. That's more pressure.
Wait, Tiffany, I don't remember. Did you already read what song number 1 was?
I did.
How come you didn't do a buzzer for song number 1?
That was enough.
Song number 2 is Faith Evans, Love Like This.
See, I would have known that. That's like totally 80s. No, well, 90s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Song number 3, Anthony.
You must learn the rules. Don't come close to.
Oh my God. Like, I want to stomp my feet. I know.
Belongs to me.
Is my
Yes.
I don't know the song name.
Okay.
Yeah.
No?
But I know the song.
Right? Again, that was us yesterday. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't want to guess again? You don't want to guess? Okay. It's Where My Girls At, 702.
Yeah. And that's always me. And James, I'm like, oh, that was it. You're right.
This next one, you got it.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
I want to feel your heart and soul inside of me.
I do know the song.
Let's make a deal.
Anthony, you got to play that one back.
Yeah, 'cause she knows
that
this
one
one.
was- Yeah.
But y'all think I'm playing. When I tell you, I'm not kidding. But I do know the song. It's not going to come to my brain. And when I leave, I would have been like, I would have got it. So Anthony, you don't have to play it because I don't know the title. So when you tell me. Okay.
That is Toni Braxton, You're Making Me High.
Yeah.
You knew it,
Pretty
right?
sure-
It was on the tip of your
I'm pretty
tongue.
sure it was that simple. If there's ever a trivia game, I'm telling you, don't ask me to be your partner. You'll be disappointed in all of my. You did it again.
Oh my goodness.
Well, to be fair, we needed somebody to get 0 out of 0, 0 out of 4 at some point. So congratulations on that. You're the first. You're the
I
first.
love the spin.
Yeah. And real quick, shout out to Guyana for providing the vocals on that because she does
Nice,
sound
Guyana.
amazing.
You did.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get going with the reason people are actually here. I'm Jordan, aka Jay, aka the chosen one, aka Big Stepper, and I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Tiffany B. We're excited that you're here today with us for the Stats on Stats podcast, where we get to talk to leaders in the IT, technology, cyberspace. Speaking of those leaders, you know we have someone here with us today. I'm going to allow her to introduce herself. She's going to tell you where she's from, where she's currently residing, how long she's been in the space, and what her role is right now.
All right. So I am Candace Williams. I'm actually from Tampa, Florida, born and raised. And I am living in Tampa, Florida, obviously, because I'm here. I didn't fly in for this, but I drove. I am currently in the aerospace and defense industry, working at Raytheon, so RTX. I've been in the industry for 20 years. I know it's hard to believe, but I have. So 20 years in the space in governance, risk, and compliance. So it's GRC is more of the policies, risk management, and again, compliance piece of cybersecurity. So been doing that for a while, and I'm glad to be here. It's exciting. So you guys are doing a great job, and I love this space and the energy you guys are bringing. So glad to be here.
Thank
you.
you. We
Thank you.
appreciate that. And Tiffany, before you get going, so you've been doing this for 20 years. That means you started when you were 10?
Yeah. See, I knew someone would get it. I was a genius as a kid, although I don't understand songs and can't remember lyrics, but I was a genius.
Fair enough. You got it.
Well, Candace, we would love to know your origin story. So tell us how you got into tech.
So I was in the Air Force. I did 6 years, and I started out in, it was called a 3CO, Computer Communications Operations, AFSC. Well, I'll go before that. So before the military, I always tell people I had an affinity for technology as like a little kid. And I share the story. I was probably like 8 or 9. My dad brought home a Windows PC. If you play solitaire and Minesweep, because we didn't have all those games on computers back then, I played all the time. So one day it broke on me, and I was just like, how'd this thing break? I had like a screen of death, and I'm sitting there as a kid trying to figure out how to fix it. I'm like deleting folders, dragging stuff around. I had no idea what I was doing, but I thought I was troubleshooting, and I'd restarted, and I thought something would like work. it never did, but I always had that same kind of curiosity, like I'm about to figure this out, like we finna make this thing work. And so that same like drive kind of was always there. So when I was in high school at the MEPS, well, MEPS is like where you go to enlist in the military. At MEPS, they asked me like, what do you want to do? You know, where do you want to go? And I was like, oh, I want to work with computers, you know, just I want to work with computers. They're like, okay, well, cool. So here's what you got to do. You got to study. You need to get, you know, a good ASVAB score. And then, you know, you may land a role in tech. So that's when I found out I had the 3 Charlie spot. And my uncle also was a 3 Charlie, and I didn't know that. So I joined the military, served my 6 years. And when I got out, since I was already doing like help desk, small computer support, information assurance, which was cybersecurity, the name of it before it became cybersecurity. I did that when I left at Raytheon. So I started out Raytheon as a cyber analyst, and then I've been at Raytheon for almost 16 years. So cyber analyst at the very bottom of the pay scale, and I work my way up to now I'm an associate director for the collateral function within GSS, which is Global Security Services. Was that a long origin story?
No.
Okay, it felt long, you know, but no. So that's where I am now. I'm still at Raytheon. And 2 years ago, about 2 years ago, I started kind of trying to leverage my knowledge, my skills, the time I've been in the space to kind of support women getting into cybersecurity. So I founded and started Cybherally, literally sitting in my stylist chair. Not Coco, it was Tish from Salon Brazil, but shout out to Tish. Can I do that?
Yeah.
I love Tish. I was like, you know, Tish, I want to get women together in the space. So I'm going to do a brunch. In the chair, I'm going to do a brunch. Yeah, I want to have a chef, and I want to have champagne, and I want to just get women in the space. So start looking up a space, put it on LinkedIn, did a little Eventbrite, and I kind of started building Cybherally. And they came, women came, and I didn't know that more women of color were in the space in Tampa, and they were. And so I held the first brunch. I had a second brunch, a third brunch. And I saw more and more women and connect with more and more women in the space. And so that was where that was born. So alongside my 9 to 5, I have Cybherally, partnering with people, companies to diversify and show that there's more in this space, more faces, others. So
you're, you mentioned aerospace, like, are there any, because I spent time in the military, but I have no just knowledge of the aerospace world. Are there any interesting, say maybe stories or interesting challenges for you?
Supporting, so like in my role, we're a support function for like the programs that create the products. So if we have like a product line and they need a system, then they say, hey, Candace and your team, we need a LAN that can do this and has this kind of software. So we go through what's known as the risk management framework from NIST. And then we kind of start from cradle to grave and get the system configured, certified, and submitted. So it's not exciting. I think it's probably more exciting when you actually go and see the spaces and the products. But what I do, I enjoy it because I love solutions. I love details. I love figuring things out besides songs. But I do figure a lot of things out. So, I would say, I know, yeah, I'll take it again. That was horrible. But no, so that's what I would say. Not exciting, but I think I enjoy it and it's fulfilling. I think oftentimes when like what I would tell my team and those kind of starting out is like, you always want to kind of connect what you're doing, what you're supporting with the actual work. Cause you don't always see it, even in IT, like even in, cyber, when you're doing the patching, when you're doing the thing, you don't always know how it impacts the business in the end. And so I always try to associate those things so that when I'm doing my work and I have a team doing theirs, like we're doing it to our best ability, right? So I kind of enjoy that piece of my job more than anything else, is being a leader, influencing, guiding, inspiring, and making sure we reach that goal. So that for me is what's more exciting than something, right? It's more the people
I understand.
and the team, yeah. So I hope that answers it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
That you mentioned something that Tiffany and I talk about all the time. It's understanding as much of the business as you possibly can, because it helps you, one, understand how your knowledge is applied, and two, how you can be like the most successful in your role. So I'm really glad you mentioned that, because we talk about that all the time. True. So something I wanted to go back to is Coco had mentioned your brunch to me. I was like sitting down and she's like, yeah, my client, she does like cybersecurity. She has a brunch. You should go. And I was like, be around people?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do actually have a question about your brunch. Though. Is it kind of like more of a hangout? Is it kind of like a technical like talk type thing? Like what's that energy?
So it's a little bit of both. So we'll have a keynote and we have a panel of speakers and they all talk about like a distinct topic. So at the last brunch we had, why can't I think of Jade's last name? So Jade did a good session. Her last name escapes me. Again, this just ties all back to what I told you about this song thing. So she gave a whole spiel on like roles, all the roles in cyber, and kind of talked about how they interconnect, and like gave just the details so that someone kind of getting into the space can understand where each of these roles kind of fit and where they may fit starting out in their career. So that was one of the sessions. And then we did a fireside chat with some leaders in the space, just talking about their experience and kind of what they would advise for entry-level folks coming in the space, and then some just about how to grow in your career. So I think it's a little bit of both. And then there's the champagne toast and the talking and the kind of not wanting to leave, and everybody's kind of hanging on in the end of the event. But it's all those things. But I think the goal of it was, at least for me with Cybherally, was just to build the community. And most networking events in tech, like you get a bunch of cards, you may connect on LinkedIn, but the people that have been to my brunches, I'm going to text you. Like, I'm going to check on you. Like, Candace is going to check on you. Or I'm going to make sure there's some, like, circle back from me to you, that this is not just, I want your email to spam you or to send you something to sell, right? It was more to really build community. So that's what the brunches were for. And then still learn while we're at it, right? Still sponsor and support and really give those nuggets that others may not, give as freely, and have someone to kind of lean on that you can feel comfortable connecting with. So it was all those things, but it was more for the community piece of it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's definitely a part of why you wanted to do the R&B event that we wanted to do. Like Jordan always talked about, like her plan was to do something that didn't just feel stuffy, but it felt like we could just come together and kind of enjoy ourselves and have fun, but it still have meaning and still be able to give us kind of that connection to the work that we do as a community. So I like that.
Yeah, I was telling her, like, I've been to a lot of like meetups and tech events and stuff, and it always just feels really like stiff, and I'm just like, let me wear my hoodie and just be me. Like this is we not at work right now, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah, so I had a question, because you said that you are a leader, right? Mm-hmm. So what inspired you to want to become a leader? What inspired you to want to inspire others?
I don't know. Yeah, I really don't. I think I always have that. Like, and it's funny. So I'll share two things. So anytime someone comes to me and like is talking about things they want to do and how they are, and if they have any doubts, like it like kicks in like, girl, no, you need to do this. How about you go and start posting on LinkedIn, or you go and you start building your brand, or you go and you take this certification. Like I'm always the one to kind of want to just bring the best out of somebody, just because inherently, then for me, I'll be like, oh girl, like for me, I'll kind of pull back from myself, but I'm willing to like push others and kind of give that same, give that inspiration to kind of do more. So I think I've always been that way. I've been a cheerleader. I've always been someone to want to inspire and like get people in the same room on the same page. And I don't know that it was me who saw that leadership quality in me. I think it was my leader at the time, who's still one of my leads now. But I think it was him who was just like, all right, I see this in you, Candace. Like, you should be doing this, or you should be speaking up more, and you should be handling yourself in this way. And I was like, are you sure? Like, are you sure that's me? Right? And so someone else had to help me see the leadership qualities in me. It wasn't me that said, I think I should be a manager. I want to be the leader of that wasn't my energy. It was more like, you sure? Do I got it? I do got it. And when I started seeing I had it, then I embraced it. Then I took the courses. Then I read the books. Then I kind of built myself up, because I understood it is in me. I see it. I have it. And I was in my early 20s at that time. So when I realized I had it because someone else helped me see that I had it, then I ran with the ball. I ran with it. And now we're here, right? So
That's cool. Okay. Yeah. So Anthony, make sure you get this because I only read like 2 books every 5 years.
You're so funny.
Yes. And is it called Start With Why?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay. I get to apply something. It sounds like you had a predisposition for leadership.
You're so funny.
Oh, snap. I got to apply.
It's okay. You're like,
I finally get to apply a book to something. I'm so proud of me. So I have to ask you, because you seem like really social, you seem like you talk to people. Do you have any advice for people like me? I go to conferences and like I have to wait for an extrovert to adopt me to meet people.
So funny.
Do you have any insight?
So I am also an introvert. I know people don't always see that, and we always say, we're talking about it earlier, introverts are always the ones who kind of are not seemingly introverted. Like you're doing this. You would never think you were introverted because of how you guys show up. Are you introverted?
Oh, yes.
Okay. You would never know that, but you're out here. So this is what I tell people. And this is what I used to do. Because I would go to a conference and I would be, when I say scared, I would be like in my car, like, all right, girl, you're going to get out here. You're going to connect with these people. You're going to do this thing. And then I get there and I probably like stand in the back and be looking around. Until one day I was like, girl, just talk to one person, 1 or 2 people. That's it. That's your quota. If you can talk to 1 or 2 people, then you can just leave. Like you did what you came to do, get their card, tell them who you are, have your pitch, and then I'm out. So that was a low bar. 1 is a low bar. Like you can talk to 1 person, right? And then that's what I would do. So now I talk to everybody. I was like, hey, what's up? Now I have I don't know what you call it, the social graces and skills to feel comfortable doing that. But I didn't initially. I was terrified. It was a while. So just pick 1 person who looks the friendliest. Make sure they're smiling. Like pick a friendly looking person. Just go up to them and talk. Most people are nervous too, believe it or not. So if you just go up there and start the conversation, they're going to talk back to you because they probably want to talk to people too and may feel just like you feel. Because I did. So.
Yeah, I think Sands does a really good job as in they create a Slack. And then they have a channel called #businesscards. So you never actually have to talk to anybody. See? Everybody just throws their LinkedIn in there. They're like, oh, yeah, we can connect.
That ain't connecting. Well, I guess it is. But not human to human connection.
I'm sure some Tinder couples would disagree with that statement.
But they got to meet at some point, right? You're not going to get married off of Tinder, right? We gotta meet.
There's some catfish.
Just on the line.
Like,
okay.
Yeah. That's a whole different segment. We don't even have to go there.
I can't. My brain can't.
So Tiffany, I'm going to ask you that same question. How do you, because you go to conferences, how do you as an introvert manage to meet people?
I will say I do a lot of standing in the corner. I'm always pretty quiet, but you know this. I think I'm a jokester. So realistically, I always try to find something that's kind of silly or funny to like make a joke about. And I actually started doing that when I was recruiting. I didn't have a choice. They just were like, oh, you're going to do recruiting. And so, yeah, I just find something that's kind of silly in a room that we're in. And I just crack a little joke. Somebody starts laughing. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, they're cool now. Let me just sit here and talk to them. I kind of gets my nerves out of the way.
Can you tell us a joke right now?
I was going to say, I want to hear the jokes, but I was like, that's good.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, gosh, this is going to be terrible. Go ahead and tell it. Don't choke on it. Just let it out.
Why did Batman run to the other side of the road?
Oh, Lord. I don't know why.
Because somebody was robbing him.
I mean, it might
No.
Did you just make that up? That was good.
You just improv a joke? Yeah. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Now we know Tiffany has a hidden talent right there. That was crazy.
I'm serious. This is a talent. I'm like, did she just make that up?
I did. I channeled my inner my nephew.
That was crazy. All right. So I have a crazy question for you. All right. So during our sync, we noticed you were using some AI.
Yes, Otter AI, yes.
Yes, so we're still not sure what happened with that, but considering, I'm like, were we being watched? All right, so considering you use Otter AI, I must know, how deep are you into the matrix?
Let me see. I'm probably like a year in. So when I started hearing about ChatGPT last year, I was like, all right, what is this? Everybody was talking about it. I was just like, I got to know what it is, just how I am. So I think I downloaded some app that was not ChatGPT that I thought was, and I started using it, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, wow. And Aura Tanner, she is the CEO of Black Unicorn Education, had an AI expert course after I kind of decided to understand what it is, and I saw it across my Facebook feed, I think it was. So I signed up for the class, and she went from 0 to at least I know what AI is in her. It was like a 4-week course. So once I understood kind of that it was just algorithms, a machine, it wasn't this something trying to take over the world and stealing all of our jobs, and I understood that it's a tool and it's valuable, then I went to MIT and took an AI course, right? A business strategy course. And then I took a MIT responsible AI course. So now I'm like, all right, this really is something that's going to benefit us. And if we understand it, you know that learning it and understanding it makes you more valuable as a, not just as an employee, just as a business owner as well, right? So it's considered like collective intelligence, where you include AI and human intelligence. It's now collectively we can do way more, which I've been able to. So a one-person entrepreneur can do a whole lot more with AI. Someone taking notes rather than hiring a VA. Someone can take my notes and help me keep things organized. Otter AI gives you an itemized list of, hey, this is what you talked about. Here's some highlights. This is what you have to go back and do based on your meeting, right? And so it's helped. So now I understand what it is. And I think the conundrum for the world is understanding how to govern it now that it's out the box. There's so much I can talk about on this, but so how to govern it now, and how to make sure we understand it enough that people, brown people, whatever people aren't impacted by like AI's biases, right? Because it's only as good as the data that's input into these algorithms. It's only as good as that. So if the data is skewed and it's biased, or it's not good data or clean data, then the output can't be, the decisions and what it gives you can't really be trusted, right? And so it's having a human in that loop to understand those deltas, those efficiencies, and understanding how these algorithms make these decisions, right? So that being said, that was a part of what I kind of learned and what I understand now, and the tools that I leverage, like what you saw, it just helps me, because right now Cybherally is so small, so it's really just me. So I leverage the things that can help me kind of do more than I could alone. So that's why I use it. But I'm in the matrix. I'm a AI thumper. And if you think about cybersecurity, a lot of our tools they've had machine learning embedded in it for God knows how long, right? I think it's just us realizing, oh, that's what that is, right? It's not new. I think a lot of AI companies have popped up over the last few years, but it's just that we're now aware that that's what it is, that it has a title. So a lot of the SIEM tools, vulnerability tools have had machine learning as a part of it. So it's not new.
Yeah, I think I heard in the streets, because I didn't read it. So rumor has it that it started in like the 1940s. Or something like that. Like the concept of AI has been around since like the 1940s. I obviously didn't know that. I thought it started like 5 minutes ago with ChatGPT. Yeah. So don't get too deep into AI though, because then Anthony's gonna use you as a guest.
I'm in there. I think I am right now taking, so IAPP, don't ask me the acronym, but it's a body, like a governing body, like learning certifications. So they have a AI governance professional certification that they just launched. And so I am taking that too. Like I literally been taking AI courses for the last probably almost a year now, because I want to know. So I'm taking the governance professional certification now. And they're supposed to be releasing like the actual exam, because initially it was just training and like the textbooks and things like that. But again, it's helping govern AI, like using the frameworks, like a lot of, I think actually NIST just came out with the AI framework like within the last few months, but there were already frameworks with like, I want to say, and if you got to edit this out, do it, but it was like Australia, like other countries already had some sort of AI like baseline framework where they were already kind of working on this. And the US is now really, everybody's collectively getting together, because we realize the impact of AI isn't just country to country, it's global, right? A lot of what's happening. So yeah, I'm in the matrix. I'm in there.
You mentioned something that was pretty interesting to me, the diversity and the biases in the AI. And a question I think I kind of think about often just from reading Weapons of Mass Destruction is like, what is something that you feel like could be helpful in terms of feeding information back into the AI, the artificial intelligence, right? Because everything is already programmed. Mm-hmm. And then as time goes on, if we're not giving information back to the artificial intelligence, we're not training it on new thoughts and new ideas. So do you feel like there's anything that we could do to kind of make sure that we're always giving information back to it so that it could be retrained on just like its knowledge from inception?
I don't know the answer to that, right? I don't know. One thing that I was exposed to probably maybe 3 months ago, there was a young lady, I can't think of her last name, but her first name was Erin. She created a GPT through OpenAI, and she called it Chat Black GPT. So GPT with OpenAI is like an Apple store for apps. And you can kind of create your own sliver of an app that does something. So she created this app that she trained to look through like the Black lens and to kind of really understand, where we are and answer things from our perspective. And she looked at some of the nuances in the language when asking about a woman versus a man, or someone who's Black versus someone who's white. So I think she kind of shined a light on what those biases are by just, again, training and adding new context to the piece of AI that she kind of, modify. So it may be the same thing where if you have like a specific machine learning algorithm and you see that there's biases, maybe there is an option to like just retrain and insert new data. But I don't know I'm not a data scientist. I don't know quite how to do all that part. But I do know that the reason why humans should be involved in the decision loop, and when we see the outcome of what this AI is giving, that's why we need to be involved, because we can say that's not right, or this is how this looks, and data scientists, you guys, how do we fix this, right? Maybe that's the feedback loop. Like I'm seeing that if I put in, a cybersecurity professional, it's a white man in a hoodie, right? Because it could be more than just that, right? And hopefully that's not a whatever, but why is it just that, right? Or if I'm putting in, a criminal in Dallas, Texas, the image of a Black man who's 6 foot comes up, right? Like, are those things we can call out and say, hey, something's skewed. Why is this the default? Right. So that's just my thought. But again, I'm not a data scientist. I just know I get what you're asking, but how to fix it would just be, to me, it's adding additional data and acknowledging or calling out the biases that we see. But we have to be involved. And we have to understand how the decisions in these algorithms are made. It can't just be a black box, which a lot of times it is. Yeah. So
do you know what would be cool, Anthony? Is if we got Candace and Evil in a podcast together.
Who's that? Well, I would also say Aura Tanner's, and I don't know if she has the time, but she's also someone who's pretty awesome in when it comes to AI education. Yeah. So who's Evil?
Oh, she was in episode 2? She was episode 2, and she identifies as a data activist. And if I'm wrong, my bad, E. But yeah, so I have a question about your cybersecurity, life. Yeah. So you mentioned that you were a cybersecurity analyst at one point.
It was, that's the name that translates now, but it was an information system security officer. Is what it was the original name of it. And that's more a DOD name.
Yeah.
So, you're so funny.
So what? So just because I know like a lot of people associate cybersecurity with technical roles.
Yeah.
So what keeps you, or what drove you to a non-technical role in cybersecurity?
So here's what I think the misconception is, right? Because when we say non-technical, a lot of people may think you don't have to know anything about technology, but I dare you to go into an ISO role and not know what anything is, like not to understand some of the foundational, like Network Plus, A Plus, like you have to understand it. It's being able to apply that and now come up with these answers on risk and solutions and policies. But if you don't understand that at a foundational level, you're not going to be successful. So you have to understand technology, but you don't have to be in there programming and coding and understanding the ones and zeros to that level, but you need to have understanding. So when we say non-technical, I'm always like, but is it though? But is it really non-technical? No coding involved, but you still got to understand technology. So I would say that that's especially as an ISO, because I was auditing, I was using like SIEM, well, at that time we didn't have SIEM tools. We were using like homegrown scripts, and we were actually having to go into the raw logs and look at the event codes and like match them up and look at the logs and kind of understand what we were seeing. So I wouldn't say, so if I didn't know anything about event codes and where to go inside a Windows system, I probably wouldn't have been able to do my job. So I think there's just levels to the technology, the non-technical piece. There's levels to it, right? So you do have to know about technology.
Yeah, I have so much love for people in the like GRC space, because I was an Izzy for like 6 months. And for those who don't know, that's an information system security engineer or something, right? I don't even know what the acronym. So I was in Izzy for like 6 months, and I was like, there's so many words. Yeah. There's so much to do. Yeah. So I have mad respect, because the amount of just like information you have to be able to retain, and just the amount of references you have to know, like, shout out ChatGPT. I bet that helps quite a bit.
I would say this. So even if you're, a leader or a CISO, whatever you are when it comes to cyber, like, you have to be able, to your point, distill down the technical terms to explain it to somebody else. And if you don't understand what you're distilling down to explain, what value does that have to advising the board or advising leaders for whatever it is you're trying to advocate for? You need to know what you're trying to explain. You just have to make it, what do you call it, jargon? You got to take out the technical jargon, but know what that jargon is so you can get funding.
I have a question for you, Tiffany, because you do a lot of like documentation and paperwork and stuff like that. How? How do you get through it? Like, how do you just like navigate that? Because for someone like me who likes to be hands-on keyboard, like I said, I have mad respect for people who can just sit there and be like, I can read this and do this and all that. You're technical and you have the ability. So how do you navigate that?
Once upon a time, I did want to be a teacher.
Nice. Respect to teachers.
And for me, I feel like being able to translate what I'm doing hands on keyboard for other people in the group or in a team or whatever, it still allows me to kind of have some kind of guidance or a role in terms of teaching, but not necessarily being directly in line with those people. So for me, I kind of enjoy like being able to sit there and do that writing and creating those policies or writing, just documenting stuff. So I enjoy it.
What's super interesting to me about Tiffany sharing with us that she wanted to be a teacher, if you ask her, or if she asks you a question and you want to show it to her, she just be clicking.
Yeah, I do click a lot, but I'm always so excited. I can't help it. Like, you have to tell me don't click, or I'm like, what's this do? So yeah, I think I'm getting better.
She's the reason I found out I'm so impatient, because she'll be like, how do you do this? And I'll be like this, and she'll be clicking. I'll be like, stop clicking.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
you know what? You figured it out yourself.
She's just impatient, period. So I'm always like,
So you want to know, but you also want to try. Like,
yeah, just be here and tell me. Don't click on that one. Oh, okay. Let me back out and figure out how to fix it, because now I'll remember this more.
I mean, you're not wrong, because I also am like a person that has to do it. You tell me I may get it, but I need to move around. I can't just sit there either. So kind of empathize with Tiffany a little bit. I mean, a little bit I do. I don't want to take sides. I'm just saying. I'm a clicker as well.
2-on-1. Anthony, I'm going to go ahead and exit. I'm done with this. So I have a question, because you, I would imagine, are a mentor and kind of a teacher yourself. So how do you navigate different learning styles?
I don't even think I consider that when I'm teaching. I think I do the most. I think because I hear, I touch, I speak, I have different ways that I learn. I just kind of do all of them at once. And it's not really a rhyme or reason to my madness. I just do whatever I feel at the time, which I don't know if that's good, whatever. It just is. So if I want to show you, I'm going to show you. If I want to tell you, I'm going to tell you. If I have a book, I'm going to give it to you. If I have some way to explain it and I don't think you're getting it, I'll shift. But it's not really a methodology or some reason behind how I mentor and teach. It's if I see you getting it, if it looks like you're hearing me, if you're listening and you do something else, you ain't get it. So let's try it this way. Right. So that's kind of how I teach. I have 10-year-old daughters. I have twin girls. So I definitely have to shift how I say and do things. And so that could be a help where I have them. So if something is explained to them and they get it and I've used my words, that's probably good. If it's something I had to show them now, let's put hand to paper, and I show them. If it's, clicking around, you do it. So
I heard kids make people patient. Anthony, is that true?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then maybe we should know.
If you're the right person, because some people don't have patience with kids, but if you're the right person, you absolutely are more patient when you have kids. because kids are phenomenal. They're hilarious, first of all. And they just want to have fun. They just want to do the thing. And so you got to have patience with them. I mean, they're learning too. Like, yeah. So
we babysat my 2-week-old nephew.
Oh, yeah.
Or not 2 week, but 2-year-old nephew for 2 weeks. Oh. And it was at that moment I knew we effed up.
Yeah. But I have patience. I think it helped because I babysat when I was younger. That was like my summertime job. And then also I have younger siblings and nephews and nieces. I love those little jokers. So for us, we balanced each other out.
Okay.
She's like, yeah.
All of that went over my head.
Oh.
You want to ask a question?
Oh my goodness.
Go ahead, ask a question.
Were you the oldest, Tiffany?
Who, me? Yeah, I was.
Okay,
Yep.
definitely.
Okay, anyways, let's get back on topic.
Were you the baby?
No, I'm the oldest.
She's the oldest.
Really?
But there's only 2.
I would have got baby energy, like a younger sibling energy just now, which just happened.
Mm-hmm. There's only 2 of them.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, well, I don't know if that counts. Like, how much?
Yeah.
Be multiple, like 3, 4.
Yeah.
Then you're like, all right, I'm the oldest.
No, I guess. But so again, like you are a mentor, you are a leader. So I'm going to set the scene for you. All right. Somebody who has no experience in IT, tech, cybersecurity walks up to you. They have their hoodie up, they got their glasses on and they're like, hey, I want to get into this.
I might run. What you mean your hoodie up in your glasses? Are they shades? Can I see your eyes?
Oh, man.
Okay.
All right. So they just got LASIK.
Okay.
Okay. So they walk up to you and they're just like, I want to be like you. How do I get into this? Like, what advice would you give them?
So I probably asked them what they've done. Like, I kind of want to know your background. Mm-hmm. So I wrote a guide to help people get into cybersecurity, and it's called No Experience Required, Your Cybersecurity Career Kickstart Guide. So in the guide, I kind of start out with, hey, everybody has some sort of skill, unless you're coming out like, well, even young kids do, unless you're coming out the gate, like no job experience, you haven't even volunteered, then you're probably an anomaly. But if you volunteered, you've had a job, I don't care if it was McDonald's or whatever it is, there's some skill you've picked up. And so I would always tell everybody, first inventory what you've done and don't discount even the smallest thing, because one of the like skills you can think of, like paying attention to detail or being a communicator, right? Some of the soft skills can still translate well into cybersecurity. So I would say first get an inventory of what you've done, right? List everything, don't leave anything out. And then kind of look at, just your personality, just innately, how are you, right? If you're an introvert, do you really want to be in a lead facing role where you're talking to a whole team, right? So consider all those things. And then I would say, look at the job roles, like look at what job roles are out there and kind of what resonates with you, right? And if you kind of narrow it down based on some of the tasks, some of the skills, some of the knowledge required for those roles, then you kind of do this like gap analysis to say, all right, well, I kind of like this whole SOC analyst thing, or I kind of like this whole pen tester thing. Like, let's see kind of where this takes me. So really it's all about getting from understanding your skills, your experience, to then looking at what's available to do and then figuring out what it is you want to do. A lot of times people getting into the space do the most. And when I say that, I just mean they see all these courses and shiny objects, and it's not even about discovering. It's more, I just think I need to be doing something to be relevant. And it's not that. I think when you really figure out and focus on what you want to do, that's when you have the most impact, right? Because then when you're studying, connecting, so if I said I want to be a pen tester and that's what I decided, I'm going to find other pen testers. I'm going to figure out what companies may need more pen testers or be more prone to hiring, right? So I'm going to now kind of focus these efforts to do this thing. And I'm going to find the person to help me kind of get there. So really just get the clarity, do the work and focus. And then when you figure it out, I always tell people to just show what you've done. Being introverted, everyone here is introverted. Being introverted, like we oftentimes don't want to show our work, don't want to show the things we've done to add value because we feel like we're boasting or whatever it is. But nobody's going to know that you're doing something if you're quiet about it. No one, you should make them guess, right? Like you need to be telling people, here's what I do. Here's how I show up. Here's how I can add value to your organization or whatever it is. So it'd be all those things, right? It's a succession of things. But first, inventory your skills, figure out what you want to do. And then all the rest is going to come.
If somebody came to you and was like, hey, I'm looking for leadership guidance or a mentorship, like what, like how do you, I guess, start out being a mentor for someone? How do you make that decision?
Oh, if you want to. So someone says, can you be my mentor? Yeah. And how do you say, so this is just me. This is how I feel. I feel like mentorship for me, because I'm introverted and because I don't let everybody in my little bubble, I think that I would want to have a good relationship with you and kind of make sure we have that chemistry, that we have a relationship, like where it can be something more than just I'm telling you things. That's just how I feel. So I would want to be in more spaces with you than just somebody messaging me online saying, can you be my mentor? Because what if I can't add value to you and I'm just your mentor on paper? So I want to make sure there was some kind of connection and I knew I can add value to your life in some way. So I would ask you, why do you want me to be your mentor? Why Candace, right? What about me is attracting you to say, you can help me? Because that's what it is. It's not me looking for you. You're looking for me. So how can I help you? Tell me that. So I would ask that question. Like, why do you want me to be your mentor? Like, what can I do for you in these 6 months? What have you seen in my career that kind of pulls you, so that I know that it's not just, oh, you're a leader. I want to kind of, connect and just, be a part of this no, like, tell me why. How can I help you? Because I don't want to just be doing something just to do it. That's a waste of my time. I don't like doing that in anything. And if I'm not adding value, I don't want to do it. I don't have the energy for it. So that's what I would ask if they did. And then from there, when we figured out there was synchronicities, then we start talking. Tell me what you want. Like, you got to tell me. And when you're telling me that, so I've had I used to have these career discovery calls where people would kind of reach out to me and I give them like this questionnaire, like, what they want to do, how they want to do it. And it would give me like the clues. Success Leaves Clues. This is a book. I don't know why that came to me, but it would give me clues to give them like the advice based on that. All right, so you want to do okay, let me look this up for you. Let me find this. Here's how we can kind of tie this together. This is what makes sense for you. So I would, base it off what they tell me, and then it kind of pull things out of me to help them. So it has to be what do you call it? Symbiotic? What's that word? Where there's like an exchange where I can help you and you help me help you. That's probably the wrong word.
Again, I read 2 books every 5 years. So my vocabulary is like this big.
Do you listen to Audible? Mm-hmm. Do you listen to books? Because that might be a hack. Okay, well, then that counts.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I listen to book. I don't always my sister's real tactile. She'll touch, but she has to touch a book. I don't have to touch a book. Yeah. I can listen to a book, and that still counts.
Well, I have to be perfectly honest. Like, I do listen to books because I'm a very big believer in it's important to consume things that are going to help you grow.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I definitely need to touch a book to really retain the information. And so that's why I say I only read like 2 books every 5 years. Because yeah. So again, we're going to go back to the fact that you are just innately a leader, because for people like me, mentorship is not my ministry. I found that out like last year when at work, they were like, you're going to be a mentor for this person. 2 days later, me and that person were basically in a fight, and I was like, I can't do this.
It was just the wrong person. No, it wasn't that you can't be a mentor. It was the wrong person.
No. Because that's how and then when I was in the military, I was an E4, but they were like, you need to learn leadership skills. This girl's your soldier. And she couldn't do right for like 24 hours. And I was like, this girl, I want nothing to do with her.
I'm out.
Yeah, and they were, you just gotta mentor her. I don't wanna do that. What about you, Tiffany? Like, if someone, because you just pick up strays, basically. People would just be like, you are now my mentor without her even knowing. But like, how do you navigate that? What would be your ideal situation in terms of people going, hey, I want you to be my mentor?
I don't know. I feel like, as you say, I pick up strays, but I feel like for me, it's just trying to figure out like where I can be a benefit for a person, right? I always feel like I don't know enough. So realistically, when people ask me to kind of help them, it brings me into like, okay, what more do I need to know, and how can I continue to grow myself as an individual so I can continue to be able to provide some assistance to this person as we move forward. So just kind of trying to gather what they're looking for and, be able to provide assistance where I can.
Okay. Real quick, for anyone who wants me to be their mentor, just Google it. That's my advice. Just Google it. All right. So I have a question that everyone wants to know. Do you have any advice for interviews?
Okay, so I do a lot of interviews. Okay, so I think in interviews, everybody's nervous. So let that be the baseline. And hiring managers, because I've done, again, plenty, they want to hire you as much as you want to be hired. I don't want to do 20,000 interviews to get one person into a role. So I want you to show me that you're the best person. I want you to be the person that I select for a job. I'm just going to say that first. So if you go into an interview like understanding they want me to, I just got to show them that I'm the one, right? Oftentimes, at least in my experience, again, I don't speak for all hiring managers. I'm just one hiring manager. Mm-hmm. If you get to my queue, there have been at least a dozen or more people that have not made the cut. So the few that make it to me, you have the baseline experience, baseline certifications that we wanted to see to interview you. So first, you made it through the cream of the crop right now, right? So take that with you when you're going to an interview and have that confidence, and then tell your story. So here's what I don't like to see. If you're in an interview and you've read the job rec and you kind of know what they're expecting, then if you know you didn't do something, you tailor your answers to what they wrote up. And if you don't have the experience, then you just say, all right, well, so for example, if in a rec I put, have you worked with, risk manager framework, right? And you have never. Before the interview, take you a little crash course on YouTube and figure out what it is to be able to speak to that, right? And then say, well, I haven't, but I've done this research a little bit. I know what it is. I know there's these 7 steps. I understand it. And I've done it in this other way. I haven't done the 7 steps, but I've used this step method. I don't know, I'm making up this step method to inventory hardware in my store. I don't know. I'm making that up. But just find a way to tie something together. Don't just say, I don't know, unless you really don't, right? Unless it's something that you haven't had a chance to kind of tee up, then, I don't know, I can learn. However you want to tie it together. But just always like try and connect the dots. Always try and show how you can still do something or how something relates. And if you have a good interviewer, which like I would like to think I'm a good interviewer. I honestly, like, I try to approach it as a conversation because I want to help someone's nerves. So I want to also help you feel comfortable enough to tell me what you've done, and I try and connect the dots if I see you struggling. And then if with my support and help you kind of still falter, I'm like, all right, well, maybe not. But if you get like the bait, I guess, to give more, answer more, and tie those things together, just take it. Just talk, tell your story, and try to connect, and just let it be a conversation. So I said a lot. They weren't really tips in order, but it's just more treat it as a conversation and just go into it with confidence because you were selected, and have just as much confidence, as anyone who actually got the job. And then also I would say ask questions back. Do not leave an interview when they're like, do you have a question for me? And just be like, no, I don't. You better ask me a question, 1 or 2 questions about the company, about the team dynamic, because when you're hired and you're part of a team, if you get on a team and they're not prone to growth, or they don't have like a way to train the team, or I don't know, ask those questions. What does your training look like for your team members? Like, how do you help people grow and like develop? Like, what does that look like? Is there a budget or a benefit for education? Or like, ask those questions, because just as much as they're benefiting you to hire you, you need to get a benefit from them as well when it comes to like how you're going to grow and how it's going to play into your career plan. Like, you need to ask those questions, and don't just feel like someone's doing you a favor. Yeah, you might need a job. Yeah, you may need money, but you're adding value to a company as well if you're going in it the right way. So you're adding value, and then they should be adding value to you with a paycheck, yes, but with just more than that too, right? What benefits are there for you? So just go into it with confidence, because you made it. You in there. Right?
You dropped a gem that actually I don't even necessarily think about. But like you said, if you see something on a rec that maybe you don't know a lot about, taking the time to use the resources around you to at least pick up a little bit of knowledge, so that when you go into that interview, you can at least be like, I do care.
Right.
I like that. And I recently heard this guy say, in 2024, there are endless resources, but not everyone is resourceful. And I was like, yo,
facts.
Oh, that's crazy.
Facts.
So Tiffany and I, most people don't know this, and they're like, how do you do this? Tiffany and I used to work, like, if you see this desk, we worked this close together, like side by side. So we work in the same office together. So I know I have overheard her doing interviews. So what do you look for in a candidate?
I think inquisitiveness is probably one of the biggest things for me. Like, just... Candace already mentioned it too, asking questions, right? Because when you're looking for a role, you're moving into a new space, period. And so you're going to be a part of a team, and like everybody is going to have kind of like different things that they are their niche. And so just when you come in and you are like excited about the role, you want to ask a lot of questions about what we're doing as a team, like where we're moving forward in our future. Like for me, that matters that they're inquisitive. Also, people who are like, they're excited, like they have a positive energy. They come, you know, they just feel like in the interview they're a joy to be around, but then they also have like their technical knowledge, but they're excited about, you know, work.
Okay, I dig that. That's
what
cool.
about you, Jordan? What are you looking for?
Do you know how to use Google? That's what I'm looking for. To be honest, like it's like I've said before, my biggest thing is if you come into an interview, don't lie. Just don't lie. Be transparent, because I don't care if you don't know everything. Like that's cool, because you can learn. If you're inquisitive, like Tiffany says, if you're asking questions, you're going, oh, I don't know this and this and this. It shows me that you're coachable, shows me that you learn. But if you're in there just BSing, I'm just like,
tell.
Yeah, you can absolutely tell. So just be transparent. That's the biggest thing I look for. And don't be lazy. Again, like if you know you're interviewing with a software company that has really specific software and you've known about your interview for even 2 days, like take a minute, read some documentation, do some type of training, and come into it. Hey, maybe I didn't start looking at this until 2 days ago, but at least I know you care enough to learn a little bit more. So that's me. I don't mind when you ask me questions.
Yeah, you said something good though. You were like, you want to show your personality to make sure you kind of share, because you got to be a fit for a team. So hiring managers think about that too. So when I'm hiring and I think about my entire team and I'm like, all right, how are they going to fit? Like, will they actually add value to the team? And if you come showing your personality, then I'm going to know that, all right, I can see where he or she's going to fit. I can see where they're going to fit, right? So that's important too. Just be yourself. Don't come faking the funk.
So I have I don't know if it's like a good question, but I actually kind of want to know. So you are kind of like a leader, director, manager. So what do you do to kind of create just good culture, good energy?
So I know it's been a little tough since COVID, because most of my team, like, so the team that I lead, they're all across the country. No one's in Tampa. So everyone's like somewhere else. So when I have team meetings, it's always virtual. Mm-hmm. So the things that I do in my team is I'll have like little chats. I'll make sure we have like recurring one-to-ones like with each individual. So it could be about work. It could be about what happened with your dog last week. Like it's just a time that's earmarked for me to talk to my team. So we'll have our chat. We'll have our one-to-ones. We'll have our recurring meetings so that I'm flowing information down. Like anytime I have to like ping you, I kind of make it like, hey, message me, call me. Like I try and just create this open door for my team to reach out to me, because I mean, half the team I may not see for like a year, depending if they have an inspection or something going on, and maybe 2 years, right? So we got to kind of build a constant communication, like some way online, virtually. So I'm the one that'll call you. I'll text you at 7:00 if I have a question, and you could text me too, right? And not to, I don't want to say text you and feel like you have to respond. So let me not do that, because I don't want to be like that kind of boss. But I'm open with my team. So, and I kind of I've gotten good feedback as a leader, right? I made it this far. So I think it works to kind of create that culture. And I've had all kinds of personalities. Because again, we're still in tech, right? So I've had the people who are type A, like, just tell me what I need to do. Don't ask me about my family. Like, we're not friends. Like, and I adjust. Like, I'm able to, no, seriously, I adjust my personality. Like, all right, I know I can't talk to him that way, or I can't talk to her that way, but I can talk to him this way. So I think another part is just knowing my team, knowing how they are, and knowing who I can banter with and who I need to kind of not banter with, but just a different kind of way to connect with them. So I understand my team, know their personalities, adjust to their personalities, and then offer the space for them to connect with me. And at the end of the day, though, we have a job to do. At the end of the day, we have to make the company look good, and that's the PC response, where it's all about the business, right? But the people too, because the people make up the business. So
I love these like chats that we get to have with people, because like even in that, I just learned something. Mm-hmm. I would be a terrible manager. That the amount of just like being so dynamic and adaptable. Nah, I got one mode, and that's Jordan. So thank you.
No, you're welcome.
So I'm not even going to think about that anymore.
This is very true.
No, being a leader, if you're a good leader, it's about the people. You gotta care about your team because they're doing the work. Like, you are too, but you know what I mean. Like they're doing the work. You gotta support them. Like there's no way around it, or it's just gonna be a horrible culture.
Yeah, no, I get that. Like I love the people. Like for instance, I love my teams, but sometimes people will be like, I just want you to know I can't tell if you're being sincere or sarcastic, and I'll be like, okay. Just assume I have good intentions because I can't change. Yeah. Like it is what it is. So thank you. I appreciate that. Let me take that out of my career trajectory. Yeah. So Tiffany, go ahead. I feel like you had a question.
I was thinking about you and the leadership role and how you are about like patience with other people. So I was like, yeah, maybe this isn't the direction you want to go.
You can lead but not be a people leader. There are leaders who lead organizations in a certain way and not be a people leader. Yeah.
Yeah.
Possible. No people leading for you.
Yeah, I'm patient with my dog.
Yeah, that's good though. I mean, still a living entity.
Yeah, so, okay. Oh, we're coming up on time, and Anthony always smiles a lot when he wants us to leave. So before we wrap up, real quick, I know you have some events coming up. Do you want to go ahead and tell us about those?
Yeah, so next week is Tampa Bay Innovation Week. So I'll be at Synapse. For anyone else who's going to be at Synapse, we have a panel talking about cybersecurity resilience in business. But before, it's after, because Synapse is on Wednesday, the 28th. We have a Cyber Connect event on Friday. We're going to do some candle pouring. So in addition to the brunches, I have this Connect thing that I have going on that we do things that aren't quite traditional in the tech space. So I don't really see a lot of techies going candle pouring, and we're doing that. So Friday we're going to be in Hyde Park at the candle pour. We're going to have some recruiters there talking, giving some advice, giving some tips for folks as well, because you got to still mix in the cyber career piece. So we're going to have two amazing recruiters to kind of give some advice. And then we're going to, after that, go for apps and drinks at On Swan. So very much the non-traditional networking event for Cyber Connect. So that's happening.
Apps. I like apps.
Yeah. Well, like the food.
I know.
Okay. Not like apps on your phone.
Yeah, no,
You're talking about tech, you got to be clear.
I'm hip. I know the lingo. Come on now. I'm cultured. I read that in one of my books.
Listen, that you listen to.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I have to ask another question. Just, be patient with me, okay? All right. So my other question is, are you planning on talking on any more panels? Because Tiffany and I, we were watching you on YouTube, and I think it was the Blacks in Tech? Which one was it?
Oh, Blacks in Tech.
Which one was? Okay. Yeah. So do you have any plans to talk on any panels this year?
There are a few coming up. I know what they are. Let me think. So there is one virtually for 360 Advanced. There's one coming up in March. And it's just a women in tech panel. If I said this wrong, you guys take it out, because we literally just had like a meeting and I can't remember the title. But so that's coming up, and then I have it's the Cyberfest. I'm going to be on a panel, the keynote panel. I don't know the title yet, but I'm doing that. And then I have a live stream with some folks. It is a lot happening. So it's a few events, but I don't remember all the names of them. But there's at least a handful before June that I'll be on and supporting. And then Synapse, I have a panel moderating on the 28th. That I know. Very clear on that one.
How do you, because again, I have questions, but like, how do you end up getting on these panels? Like, do people find you? Do you find them? How does that happen?
No, they find you. They find me. But that's about making yourself findable. I tell people all the time, when was it? When I first went to Synapse, it was 2022. It was, because the last year was second. So 2022, I went to Synapse and I met, her name was Ashley, and she was called the LinkedIn Black Belt. And she was doing LinkedIn audits at Synapse. And I'm like, a LinkedIn audit? Like, who uses LinkedIn for anything besides jobs? And so she was like, no, let me do a quick audit. So I signed up for the audit, a 15-minute audit. And she kind of looked at my followers and she was like, yeah, you need to get your followers up. I was like, what? So I had like 872 followers, I think, at that time, and connections. And so she was like, no, you need to really leverage your LinkedIn for something more than just your job. And so I got her book, which I don't think it's on sale anymore, but it was just the LinkedIn Black Belt, like how to increase your LinkedIn presence or whatever else. So went through her book and kind of just understood from at least her book initially that these platforms, especially LinkedIn, if you have your like brand personality, your own brand as a professional, like you have to cultivate that. Like you got to, like, if you want those opportunities. So from then I kind of used the book, started building my LinkedIn profile, sharing, talking, expressing myself, showing up as Candace, like, and I started getting more followers, and people would reach out like, hey, can you speak on this panel? Like, hey, I have this opportunity. And then of course I would go places in person too, but a lot of it was LinkedIn. Like, you know, we see you, you're a thought leader, like you have all these things going on. Can you speak here? And then I'd speak. Can you speak here? I see you doing this. And then I speak. So I think at one point I couldn't do all of them. I was like, all right, well, I can't speak everywhere, especially if it's free 99. Like I can't do that. I still have a family, a job, right? So that's how it really happened. Like the opportunities came because I built my personal brand, and I took and owned what I did in this space, and I kind of capitalized on that because, I mean, everyone has a set of skills and knowledge that someone else may want to know. You may, like you mentioned earlier, like you're wondering, like, what can they learn from me? But you have a lot of knowledge that you can share in whatever that niche is, right? And when you do that, somebody's gonna resonate. Somebody's gonna need to hear that. And even if they don't, what you guys are doing now, building your own platform, that's gonna still attract things and opportunities. So I'm pretty sure Stats on Stats is gonna increase your profile and elevate you guys to the point where someone's going to say, hey, come on my podcast, or hey, come speak for me. I like the way you guys vibe. So that's really what it was. The opportunities came because I put myself out there. I made myself findable. That's what my coach says. You got to make yourself findable. People aren't just going to find you and know where you are. You have to show up. And I still don't do it the best. I'm still not out there as much as I probably should be, but it's what it is.
So one of the reasons I actually asked you that question, though, is to plug myself. If anyone wants me on their panel, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I got a lot to talk about. Okay. So Tiffany, do you want to go ahead and wrap up?
Actually, I was going to ask a question.
Okay, snap.
I thought you were trying to get you again. I was like, listen.
You mentioned, like, you know, you're showing up for so many things, and I've heard you talk about so much stuff that you have going on. What is something that you do to kind of separate yourself from that and kind of take time to just be Candace and you know, not be, I don't want to say overwhelmed, but just not have to be so involved?
So I would just say when it's time to shut down, I will shut down. Mm-hmm. But when it's time to work, I'm going to work. I think inherently I've always been an overachiever. Like, and that really, like, since I was a kid, I was always the one that's going to do extra credit. We're going to do the most. And so I'm on the most mode. That's my default mode. Mm-hmm. So in order to kind of step back, I do have to be intentional. So like last year, I hired a coach to help me in like being intentional, understanding Candace, my human design, like shout out to Akira, Core Empowerment. She's an awesome coach. So she kind of helped me understand my personality and like, okay, well, why are you this way? Really, why are you this way? And then since you're this way, what are some things you can do to make sure you're not burning out? And so I do the meditation thing. I do the, like, just even if I'm at my desk doing work and I'm involved in something and I need to take a break, I'll sit there. My mom always tells me, do deep diaphragmatic breaths, right? I always find ways to incorporate those things just into what I do day to day. And then if it is too much and I got to just rest, I'm going to go to sleep for the day. And that's just it. So I just kind of feel it out. But go is my default. And it's not because I'm trying to hustle. It's just how it was kind of, I've always been that way. So it's not, yeah. So.
Well, Jordan, you do jujitsu. Anything else you'd like to talk about you do to kind of relax yourself?
I do this podcast. I love it here. Anyway, I think it's time to wrap up. So before we wrap up, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for coming. We know you got lost, so your journey was truly an adventure, but we're glad you made it here. Yes. So thank you so much. Like, endless gratitude. You could be anywhere right now and you're here with us. So like, seriously, we really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for showing up.
Yeah.
All right. Talk to our listeners and wrap it up.
Thanks again for being a part of the Stats on Stats podcast. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you showing up with us. And Candace, thank you so much from both of us. If you would like to share any of your information with them, our listeners, would you like to share your?
So if you want to connect with me, I have a LinkedIn at Cybherally, CYBHERALLY. And then I have an Instagram that's pretty dead, but I still have it. Same handle, but primarily my platform is LinkedIn. So, and the website, same thing, cyberally.com.
All right, awesome. And we will post any references that we have on our site. Take care.
Bye.
Yeah.